In nature, there actually aren't as many completely different animals as we might think. Many animals that look very different are still closely related, and some even come from the same ancestors. For example, many ornamental fish, dog breeds, and other domestic animals with unusual appearances did not evolve that way naturally. Instead, they were shaped by human preferences over hundreds or even thousands of years. Through a process called selective breeding, humans choose animals with certain traits, like color, body shape, or size, and breed them repeatedly. Over time, this creates animals that look very different from their original ancestors. That's why some animals we see today are essentially animals shaped by human taste. Here are some examples. This cute fish is actually just a regular goldfish, but the crown on its head didn't come from nature. It's actually a growth abnormality that humans decided to preserve and cultivate. Through a long process of selective breeding, people kept choosing goldfish with the most prominent head growth. Over time, this process created the Oranda goldfish, with many unique and adorable variations. Unlike most rats, this one actually looks quite beautiful. Its fur is pure white and its eyes are reddish, which makes many people think it would make a nice pet. But in reality, this animal is just a common sewer rat. It comes from the species Rattus norvegicus, a rat that normally has brown or gray fur and usually lives in sewers or other damp places. The white rat appears because of a genetic condition called albinism. This condition prevents the body from producing pigment, which is why its fur becomes white and its eyes appear red. In the wild, rats like this almost have no chance of survival because their bright color makes them easy for predators to spot. But in the 19th century, humans saw another opportunity. Some people began capturing and breeding these albino rats. From that process, the modern laboratory rat was born, known as the laboratory rat. This small dog looks incredibly cute. It has a round face, big eyes, and a very flat nose. Sometimes its expression even looks like it's permanently grumpy. This dog is called a pug. Thousands of years ago, the ancestors of pugs came from China. At that time, they were not ordinary dogs. Pugs were kept by royal families and even lived in imperial palaces. Centuries later, traders brought these dogs to Europe. There, pugs quickly became popular among nobles and royal families. But the pug we see today is actually different from its original ancestors. For hundreds of years, humans selectively bred them to create flatter faces, bigger eyes, and smaller, rounder bodies because people thought those features looked cute. However, these changes also brought problems. Because their noses are so short, many pugs have difficulty breathing, a condition known as brachycephalic airway syndrome. Even so, pugs are still known as very affectionate dogs that love being close to humans. So behind their adorable faces, pugs are actually an example of how human preferences can shape the appearance of an animal. The fan-tailed pigeon is one of the most popular ornamental pigeon breeds in the world. Its most distinctive feature is its tail, which spreads out like a fan. A fan-tailed pigeon can have around 30 to 40 tail feathers, far more than a typical wild pigeon, which usually has about 12. But despite their unusual appearance, fan-tailed pigeons are not a different species. They still belong to the same species as the common city pigeon, Columba livia. This unique tail shape is the result of artificial selection by humans. For hundreds of years, breeders selected pigeons with the widest tails and the most feathers, then bred them again and again. Over many generations, this process eventually created the fantail pigeon we know today, a pigeon with a large, elegant fan-shaped tail. This rabbit looks more like a living cotton ball than an animal. Its fur is extremely long, thick, and fluffy. Sometimes you can barely even see its face. This is the Angora rabbit. Unlike most rabbits, the fur of an Angora rabbit can grow very long and needs to be trimmed or brushed regularly. This fur is also used by humans to produce Angora wool, one of the softest natural fibers used to make warm clothing like sweaters and scarves. The breed originally comes from the region of Ankara, which used to be called Angora. That's where the rabbit got its name. Interestingly, the Angora rabbits we see today didn't just appear naturally. Their extremely fluffy coats are the result of hundreds of years of selective breeding by humans. So if you ever see a rabbit that looks like a fluffy cloud with two tiny eyes in the middle, chances are it's an Angora rabbit. The Scottish fold was first discovered in Scotland, just like its name suggests. But the most special thing about this cat isn't where it came from. What makes it truly unique is its ears. Unlike most cats whose ears stand upright, the ears of a Scottish fold bend forward, giving the cat a round, almost owl-like face. This unusual feature began with a female cat named Susie. Susie had a natural genetic mutation that affected the cartilage in her ears. Because the cartilage was softer than normal, her ears folded forward instead of standing straight. When Susie had kittens, some of them inherited the same folded ears. People quickly became fascinated by this rare trait, and breeders began selectively breeding cats with the same feature. Over time, this small genetic accident turned into a new cat breed known as the Scottish Fold. Their round faces, big eyes, and folded ears make them look permanently cute, sometimes even like they're smiling or slightly worried. But behind their adorable appearance, there's also an important fact. The same mutation that folds their ears can also affect cartilage and bones in other parts of their body. Because of this, responsible breeders usually avoid breeding two Scottish folds together. Instead, they often cross them with other breeds like the British Shorthair to keep the kittens healthier. So the iconic folded ears of the Scottish Fold actually began with a single genetic mutation in one farm cat in Scotland, a tiny biological accident that eventually created one of the most recognizable cat breeds in the world. As you can see, many animals we know today didn't just appear naturally. Their shapes, colors, and even behaviors were influenced by human choices over generations. Through selective breeding, humans have created animals that look very different from their wild ancestors. Some were bred for beauty, some for usefulness, and others simply because people liked how they looked. It's a reminder that humans have played a surprisingly big role in shaping the animal world around us.